welcome back to another video. Today, I'm discussing One Punch Man Season 3, or what has been framed as in the One Piece community narratively as a one-frame man. Of course, One Punch Man Season 3 is receiving a lot of criticism, especially these first couple episodes, along with the trailers that have come out for the next couple episodes, that they don't have as much fluid animation for One Punch Man Season 1. This has been the complaint for One Punch Man ever since Season 2, now onward to Season 3. Season 1, I think, was made with more love, more attention to detail, of course, and then it blew up into something that was never really expected to be. While Season 2, Season 3 is more studio, it's more being pushed by like one singular team. Maybe you get help here and there from like an anime director, but you have to know, from Season 2 to Season 3, I think it has been 5 years. It has switched studios not once, not twice, but 3 times to find its home, to have then for be pushed. So let's be grateful that One Punch Man has the content, has the push to even have a Season 3, because it's been so long since Season 2. Even then, from Season 1 to Season 2 was a long time between Season 1 and Season 2 to be made, because this anime could not find a home in Japan to be created. Either way, like, I've made a video about One Punch Man Season 2 a couple of years ago. It was before I was making videos on a different channel. One Punch Man Season 3 does not have that bad of animation. Of course, everyone is pointing out that scene where Garo has to come down on that grass and he of course slides. It is unfortunately a compact frame, or at least from what I know from animators that I know, that you can only really see that if you slow down. And of course, if you pause animation, you're going to see some imperfections on, some things that are not going to look right, because animation is supposed to flow, never supposed to be stopped in a singular frame. And if that singular frame you catch something, it's not supposed to do that. It's supposed to watch animation all the way through. Even you could do that with like Disney movies, which is kind of weird. Even if like you'll see certain things in Disney, DreamWorks, and other movies, if you pause it, there's a certain movie in a certain kind of place, you'll see something that's out of spot, only because animation is supposed to flow from one end to, the end of the movie. Anyway, One Punch Man Season 3, Episode 3, which is the most recent episode. Of course, when this video drops, it will be Episode 5 or Episode 4. We have action scenes. Of course, it was Garo versus those 2 monsters, and ended up being Garo's loss, unfortunately. But the animation for that fight wasn't that bad. Of course, it's never going to be on the level of One Punch Man Season 1, because that One Punch Man Season 1 was incredible. But it can be a close second, especially considering how One Punch Man Season 2 ended up. It wasn't that bad. The fight was quite enjoyable. They made the animations between Garo and the lady, I just don't remember the monster's name, with the swords. They made that fight enjoyable. It flowed. You see the backflips from Garo. You see the fight sequences between the two, and of course within the fight sequence of the green thing and Big Man, Digimon, coming over to help within that fight in total. So the fight was quite enjoyable. Honestly, if you didn't like that fight because it's not One Punch Man Season 1, I don't know what to tell you. You're not going to get that level of quality in One Punch Man Season 3, because the studios have swapped so many times. Different people have probably put their hands on One Punch Man, different things, and of course different anime directors have a different anime approach to how this anime is going to be made, of course with the mangaka input. So I say enjoy it. It's been a long time since we got One Punch Man content. It's not as bad as animation as you see. Of course, if you pause in between frames, it's not going to be perfect. But the fight sequences, for all I care about, has been really good for what I've seen. For the flying, of course, the characters look like they're talking and they're moving around. The only issues within the animation is like they cut around some things, probably because of budget issues. Within them talking frames, where you probably don't see a whole sequence of them, talking, moving, and then pushing stuff out. For within the budget, probably just went to the action sequences, just because this arc in One Punch Man is action packed more than talking packed. So they had to cut costs somewhere, and that's unfortunate. But like the One Punch Man guy Saitama's taught to Genos doctor or robotics engineer, and that whole sequence is them cutting different frames, different chapters together. That's weird. That's stupid. But when you go to the Garo fight, it's just all in one sequence. So you know where that budget was being more pushed to rather than the whole dialogue sequence. So that's kind of weird. But if you like those dialogue scenes, read the manga. If you like the anime action scenes, the ones we came here to watch, the anime does a pretty good job of that. At least so far in episode 3. We'll see how much the animations go so far. But for me, right now, the animation's not that bad. Not to be clowned as One Frame Man or even put on the same level as Seven Deadly Sins, even though the Seven Deadly Sins animation was not that bad. And or Blue Lock. Blue Lock's animation was horrible. I ain't gonna lie. That's bottom of the barrel. According with like high key animes. Anyway, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.